Ooh, 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 ooh. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow Tower of God Season 2 anime lovers, enjoyers, and haters. Oh boy, welcome back. So, hot off the presses, literally a couple seconds ago, me and the hairline. That's your cue, Adrian.
Oh yeah, what's up? Yeah,
Me
that's me.
and the hairline just saw Season 2, Episode 23 of Tower of God. And we're here to talk about it.
hmm
Wow. Do you do you want to go first, or do you want me to
I'll
go
let you go
first?
first. I'll let you go first.
Okay. Um. Actually, I think you should go first, just because of time constraints,
Okay, sure.
of circumstances.
Yeah, I thought this episode kind of like whatever. Like it wasn't the worst episode, I guess, but it wasn't like the best either. It had some fight scenes. It had some awkward moments. There's some points where it's just like the story just doesn't make sense to me. Like they're not showing enough for me to understand what's going on. Um, I don't know. It's just too much jumping around and not enough like consistent things going on. I don't know how to explain it, but like
Mm,
with all the people, like there's so many close-ups too. It's just like
that's
hard to get the full
always.
picture of what's going on.
It's gonna be a
We
lot of
this
the
was
same shit.
Yeah, this was an episode with fight scenes, so you know it's going to be one of the lower tier episodes. But all that considered, this honestly wasn't the worst out of like the fight scene episode. It was still pretty bad, but it was all right. I guess like I wasn't too bothered by it, but
Oh no.
I'm curious to see how much stuff was skipped because it felt like they didn't actually skip much. It felt like okay, that's a very awkward. Yeah, oh, that's a choice. Yeah, so if anyone thought that like the anime has like better art. I guess the point was supposed to make him look crazy. I think they did Beta kind of all right. Like the whole thing, like what is the deal with Beta, right? Like the thing is that he feels
He feels
mess like
cuffed.
he needs an outlet to get rid of all of his anger, right?
He
And
got cuffed.
he sees Viol or Bomb as that outlet. Like, hey, you
Viola.
have it all. You took advantage of the experiments that were done on me so that you could get like the perfect vessel so you could hold the thorn and stuff like that.
He's
Um,
living out his dream.
Exactly. Yeah. And it is kind of sad what happens to Beta, the fact like he was all experimented on. Now he relies on this medicine to stay alive.
Yeah, the big
Um,
reveal, his whole backstory.
yeah, we got to see that like, he was basically like a competition similar to Horiang and Kasano, but I think his was a lot worse. If you
Mm.
could even say that, because I guess they were both bad, but like Beta was like kind of I think he's the next step after Horiang and Kasano. So like they went like a step
I
further
think they
to
were the
make something more
testing.
complete.
Yeah, they were the testing, and then they further improved it with beta, and then the final
Exactly.
solution was bomb or
Yeah.
Biola, as they say.
Yeah. And they make the mention that Baum wasn't involved with the research and that Emily lied, but I don't think that's the case. I could be wrong, but I think the way that it was is that like Baum himself wasn't involved, right? Like this isn't
Yeah, I
Baum's
think
fault. Like
beta
he
misread it. I know what you're
yeah.
referencing. It says
I
like,
think it's like it
oh,
was more against his will because there definitely is the whole sealing something inside and becoming an ignition weapon is 100% what happened to Baum and it's 100% what happened to Beta and them and it's all related to each other.
yeah. What
But
what she's saying here is, unless we have a translation error, what she's saying is 100% true. The experiments were performed to create Juvial Grace, but
yeah.
maybe he thought Juvial Grace wanted it, or something. Like, I don't know what he
Yeah,
thought from
maybe
that.
they thought it was like, like him wanting to become stronger. So he's like, yeah, do those experiments so that, like, I can get this thing. Maybe it was his interpretation of it.
Yeah,
So yeah, I don't think Emily was wrong there. Um,
definitely wasn't.
yeah. I guess we'll see when we check out the manual panels just to be sure. But yeah, Beta story is pretty interesting, and I think they covered it like to the point where you could understand it, which I think is good because I
Yeah.
think one of the most important things about Tog is the story. So getting these story parts is critical to like making sure that the anime like survives, or at least
Yes.
that like it can keep moving because this is the only time we're going to see the workshop battle, unfortunately, in anime form.
Unless
So
they redo
I,
it. Oh,
unless
look
they
at this!
redo it,
Look at
which
this
would be sick.
gangster shit right
This
here.
is probably the highlight of the episode right here. Just the way Laro just hits that shit sideways right in front of what's her face here and just
Sophia.
like knocks out the last guy.
Is
Yeah.
her name Sophia?
I
No, it's not
Yeah,
Sophia.
Sophia, I think it might have been her. Yeah.
Okay, because I know there's another character we just got introduced to where I'm at that's named
Mhm.
Sophia. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah, I
use
really
same
like this
names.
scene. It's good.
Ha!
Um what else to talk about? The game
Slime dies.
was a bit
Slime dies.
awkward the way that I don't know how much the anime onlys are following, but basically what happened is that all the other teams backed out so that they could avoid um Kuhn's team from getting enough points to
They were
summon
trying to
Bomb.
starve them.
They were trying to starve them out of points. That was the plan. So
Yes.
they pulled out, with the exception of Beta, who has this little worm thing inside of him. And if you defeat an opponent, you get like a big amount of points. I don't remember the exact number, but it's the most amount of points you can get. So when Yiwa lit the flame and burned that guy, sniped him, which is a big moment for Yiwa too, because that was the first time she actually controlled her power. She was getting there slowly, right? Like it's a big development that like a lot of people may not notice from anime onlys. I'm assuming that we're talking to some anime onlys that watch this, or at least at some point maybe an anime only will watch this.
I know some of the people who watch our reading definitely watch this. Obviously, shout out to Azul. Azul always watches it. So
yeah, we have people on both sides. People that are up to date on the manga, and people who are like anime only. So I like to just take the anime only side just to be like
yeah, we don't want to spoil them.
Safe, yeah. But those who know. But basically, for those who don't know, or just to reiterate, this whole arc has kind of been working on controlling her fire ever since we've seen her.
Also showed it.
Yeah, she fought the fire breather guy and the umbrella dude, and that was another instance of her gaining control of her power. I was kind of upset about how that fight was. You could see it in our last episode. It was much better in the manga, especially with how Rack tanks the fire, which I thought was sick. But
yeah,
whatever, it's fine.
Man just avoids him.
Yeah, Yua got more control over her fire, manages to snipe the worm, and then Wang Nan pulls up. Hole in his heart is like, summon Biole.
Yeah.
And then we get him, and it was really good. But the issue is the timer, so they can't hold off with Beta fighting them and stuff like that. And this fight scene was awkward, it's like, what is new with all these fights and stuff like that. But the story elements, I think, were there. The fact that they were the last people left. It was just Shibisu and Kun's team in this section of the game. So Shibisu drops out so that they can summon everything instantaneously because the game's over. So poof, GVL Grace is summoned, and also Kun can intervene with his lighthouses because the game's over.
Also,
and everyone else can intervene.
Yeah, big thing. I don't know if this was in the manhwa, but Kun was in the Observer.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, but I guess it makes sense because these are like different observers. Like typically observers are much smaller, so I guess they were always following them inside.
I even commented on that too. I told you like while we were watching at some point in the past, like, oh, are those things normally that big? And you were like,
yeah,
no.
I thought they were portable, and I did notice that they were weird, but I guess that makes sense as to how Kun was able to get there, and we'll probably see it again in the manhwa because I don't remember this very well.
Yeah, like, look at this shit. I didn't even remember this. He was in there.
It's fine. I think it'll make more sense when we see the manhwa panels. Probably this might have been something I overlooked when I read it the first time.
It's been a while.
But yeah, everyone gets to intervene in time, and Bomb starts talking to Beta, trying to be cool with him. Understand that like they're homies. They're kind of in similar situations where it's like what is it? Starting with nothing and just wanting freedom, wanting to like make friends and stuff like that. Like Beta's kind of like, he's not a bad person. He's just like a person, a product of his circumstance.
He got fucked.
Yeah, basically, he had no choice, and then he has all this anger that he wants to get out of. So I think they did that pretty well. I kind of wish they showed Sophia's character a little more and let her shine a little more. Maybe they'll do that in the next episode because I remember she plays more of a role. She was just kind of yelling like, "Your medicine" or whatever. It was just kind of like whatever.
She didn't even say it until like after he revealed it. She's just like, "Oh, you can't do this. You can't do this," and like we don't know why.
Yeah.
But like you know.
But yeah, so Laro pulls up and everything. Back to the game, actually, I wanted to mention is that so Shibisu dropped out, which means that Kun's team is the final team that's able to go up and fight with Team Fug because Fug is the only team is the team on the other side of the island, and so at the end of the game, it's like a losers bracket tournament, and then we get the final two teams that battle it out. And winner gets the thorn, right?
Yeah.
Which was already stolen, but whatever, that's fine.
Yeah, we already kind of have the guy who got it.
Yeah, so basically, winner wins the workshop battle. Okay, sure. So that's where we are right now.
Oh my god, I didn't even know.
Yeah, the combat was weird. What else was weird?
I love that image so much.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, so this episode, we're gonna have to see how much stuff they skip, but I feel like they did the story all right. Like they showed the important things that needed to be shown, and we're gonna see later when we check out the panels to confirm. But in terms of that, I think that's okay, and that's the thing I'm mostly concerned about. Like at this point, the animation's cooked, right? So it's not that big of a deal. Like it doesn't even matter. Like it means nothing to me anymore.
You're dead to it. You're just like,
Yeah, I'm numb to it. We're so close. We've been disappointed so much. So yeah, I'm just happy that the story elements are kind of getting there, especially this late into the game where they're rushing more than ever. But I can't confirm until we see the end. But I guarantee the fight scenes are much longer in the manhwa because
more
these felt kind of
detailed as
quick.
always.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, it was all right episode. Like okay, you kind of like in terms of what this animation studio can do. I think they kind of did their thing here. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, obviously, I don't love it, but
Okay.
it didn't piss me off entirely or anything like that. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, it's
All
it's
right.
not the worst. It's not the worst we've seen.
Okay. So on to me now.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be interesting. So I think, and I really, really have to like emphasize this, right? I'm not saying in general. I'm not saying like in totality. I'm saying in a closed bubble, in a vacuum. I think, unironically, this is probably one of the best episodes I've seen. I really like this episode. Maybe not for the right reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly think at certain points too, I noticed in the beginning, right? There's certain episodes where, especially, and I always compare this, in modern day One Piece, especially in Wano arc, because that's what I'm up to. There's episodes where they kind of just treat it like shit, where it's very low quality, like the animation's kind of, I don't want to say choppy, but you could tell they didn't spend too much time detailing things. Things are very undetailed. And that's because they save it for when it matters, right? They're saving budget, they're allocating their time somewhat properly. Everyone's not a fan of it. Some people like it, some people don't. It is what it is. But relativistically here, for Tower of God standards, I think they really probably tried, maybe not their hardest, because the only other time I really saw this, and I honestly would argue, I don't know why too. I don't know why they would do this if this is the case, but I would say that this episode probably to me looked like they tried some of their hardest here in terms of just quality of how things looked, right? I saw kind of a little bit in the beginning here. Like in the beginning, we get this whole scene, and I don't believe this was in the manhwa, but we're going to see it soon when we do the comparison. But, we see this beginning scene here with Beta walking up. We see like he's coming in with lightning, there's like aura to it, right? And again, not in like in the whole grand scheme of all animes, right? In the whole grand scheme of all animes, this was done pretty poorly. But when you go into like a bad movie, right? When you go into like a movie you know is gonna suck, so you kind of just don't care. You're just kind of there to have fun. I think that's kind of what I was like during this episode. We all know it's gonna be bad. So at this point, I'm past the point of anger and rage because it's mostly disappointment. But I honestly had fun with this episode. I think this episode was really good compared to what we get. Now, again, I feel like obviously some of the animations look like shit, right? Like this beginning part here, I was like, oh,
show
what
Vespa
is this?
floating. That's good.
Yeah, so Vespa's obviously moving here, right? They didn't show Vespa getting big. They didn't explain that. Obviously, again, this is where it always happens like this, and I always say this. You can make the logical jump yourself if you think, but you really have to go out of your way. Because we see Rack do it all the time. Rack grows bigger, Rack grows smaller. We see that. We've never seen Vespa do it. So we can just assume logically that she can, and it is a she, by the way. We can assume logically that she can, but they never outright show it, so it would confuse, I feel like, a lot of people. But yeah, Vespa's just big, sure. Also, the character they seem to forget about all season until he has to be used, Lare. He's here. He's right there. Where was he this entire time? I don't know. But he's somehow right here. So he literally just like appeared, even though realistically Vespa in the manhwa, as we've shown, was carrying him the entire time. So this part is hilarious, right? So Vespa's moving. Vespa always looks simple, but that's just how she looks, right? Whatever. So this part here was hilarious. So this looks horrible. Like this looks horrible, and you could tell they really took like some scenes and they just did not care. Like look, like there's not even a fight there. We saw the fight in the manhwa already. This fight happened. It looked way better. Look at Vespa just floating here. Like what is this?
Like yeah, is she still moving or like what is happening?
It's terrible. Oh, give me 1 second. Thank you. Okay, Nikita. Anyway, so yeah, Vespa's just floating up here. You know, it's like really dumb looking. But here you could see there's quality in Rack's face, and I was like, wait a minute, what the hell? Like there's some points with Rack's face where it's not that detailed. Here it's like, oh shit, okay, it's kind of detailed. And a lot throughout the episode, even this part right here, right? Okay, so obviously Quattro looks like pretty simple, but there's a lot of parts where it looks really detailed, and I was shocked. I was like, okay, they put a lot of their effort into this. Now, again, what does that effort amount to in the grand scheme of things? Like, again, look at Beta's face, very detailed. You know, I showed the image before of him going crazy, and it didn't look too good. But there's a point where, like, his face was really good looking. I was shocked. But
Mm-hmm.
in terms of the actual content of the episode, I really liked it. I like seeing Laurie. Laurie is, like, a guy who's, like, quite literally sleeper OP. Like, he sleeps, and he almost seems like an asshole. Like, oh, yeah, I don't want to help you guys. Like you literally see Wongnan like ham-fisted through his fucking chest, and he's thinking about, oh, this is a pain in my ass. Like it almost makes you think Laurie doesn't even give a shit. But either way, I think at certain points, right? I think the Shinsu, you know, at some points looked really bad. At some points looked really good. But it's just like there's certain parts in this episode where I think they like look at his face here. His face looks pretty good here. There's an image with Beta. I don't know if I passed it. I probably did, but there's a lot of times in this episode where I feel like, and especially Beta's like little like entity thing, Phobos. I think Phobos actually looked pretty decent. Now the animation itself of, you know, them fighting it wasn't great. A lot of times it was not good. But this is probably the most, I don't want to say consistent, but the most times I've seen them have something as detailed as they did to this level. It wasn't consistent at all, but it happened a lot where this episode I think things looked kind of okay, more so than they usually do. So again, I really feel like for some odd reason they tried a lot this episode, and I don't understand why. I mean, you know, it is a big fight in the season, but it's so weird because certain things looked really bad, but I know that I know coming in like it's gonna look like that. The bomb fight, like bomb fighting, it was fucking horrible. Like this thing was garbage. Like some of their hits didn't even look like they were doing anything. Like this is just lazy. I feel like.
Yeah, it was weird.
Like
It
look
was
at this.
repetitive.
I thought my screen was glitchy. I was like, oh wait, is it looping? Did I press back? No, it's just them doing the same thing. It's really bad, but it's so bad it's funny. Like look at this shit. Like Bob's not dodging. Like what was Beta hitting there? It was so bad at certain points. But again, I'm coming in knowing that, and I know it's gonna be funny, so I kind of laughed at it. I had a lot of fun with this episode. I'm not gonna lie. I think obviously it was a little rushed, but I think all in all, the level of quality at the times when the quality was high was a lot more times than we usually get. It's so weird why they chose this episode of all the things to try that. But again, we could really see their limits. Like they cannot do fights. We all know this. Nothing's new. But yeah, with all the reasons I said, I just think like the story, we're at a hot part in the story. I think the animation at times it wasn't good, but by Tower of God season 2 standards, it was the highest they went a lot more times than I thought they would do it. And it was just a fun experience. I thought it was really funny. This is probably one of my favorite episodes. I liked watching this one because I was laughing and some parts did genuinely look decent to me. But,
Hmm.
you know, not good by any normal standard. But still, like look at this part. I was like, what the fuck even is this? Like he just punches him. And
Yeah, that
like
was
Bomb
really
doesn't
weird.
move. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, they didn't even make a move. Like it should have
Yeah,
been stupid or something.
it's so bad. There's so many parts of this fight where it's just so bad. I think when he creates the bangs too, he does like his final attack.
Yeah, that was weird where they lined it up. It was so close up. Like it was such a close up.
Yeah, let me see if I can find
It
it. I
just
think it
looked
was,
really.
where was it? Fuck. Oh, it's right here.
It's right here. Yeah.
It's like what the hell? And then they go
If
slow
we're
like
zoomed all the way in, it's like so
yeah.
hard to see what's happening.
I think the
It
final
really
attack,
ruins it.
yeah, the final attack where he used against Beta was pretty shit too.
Yeah.
Like again, their main issue with the fights, not that you know we're choreographers or whatever, but you know things just started to move slow. The pacing of the actual fights was weird. There's bad choreography. This though, I was shocked that they did this. Let me see if I could like get it. This is where Rack throws the spear at him, and he catches it. And again, by normal standards, by their normal standards, they would have made this slow, but they didn't, and I was shocked. So let me see if it's right here. I think. Yeah, look. That was fast. Like they did a little freeze frame there. They slowed it down a little bit to show what it was. But that's perfect. Like that was really good. I would not expect that. And this shit I was expected to go really slow and he casually dodged it. No, that shit was fast. So
Mm-hmm.
there is parts that did surprise me with the episode. Rack looked really detailed a lot of the time too. They usually don't do a good job with him most of the time. But again, the standard for this episode I feel like was higher. Any actual good standard? No. But Tower of God season 2 anime standards, decently high. I think decently high. So
Mm-hmm.
overall, I really like this episode. Again, a little bit for the wrong reasons, but I think for some reason they tried hard in this one. So it's one of my favorite episodes. It's also a good part of the story too, but that's
Yep.
basically where we'll end it. So a little bit starkly contrasted from Adrian, but that's fine. We all have different opinions, so that's how the world is. Now we'll get into the meat and potatoes of this shit. So weirdly enough, I don't know why in the beginning when we were watching Crunchyroll why they said this. But in the beginning of Crunchyroll they said there's suicide. I didn't see any suicide in the episode, so that was a little weird. Like maybe they
Yeah.
count them doing the battle royale with Beta and them as a suicide, but I don't think that's what it is. But regardless, here we start basically kind of the same as the manhwa, except here you see Vespa's more be like. You see a cute little Vespa face too. Sadly, we didn't get that. And then we see more interaction with Rack and Lare. And then we see
Mm-hmm.
like some Lare
Acknowledging that he
lore.
exists.
Yeah, we see some Lare lore too. Like, oh yeah, Rack is saying like it's your dad's fault you're like this. Cool. So we get a similar thing with Quiet Show, except his flames look a lot cooler. And again, in the last episode, we actually saw his fight already. So it's not like he just beat him like it was in the anime. We saw the fight, which looked pretty cool. It was short, but it was cool. So here we see Rack talking with Quietro. Quietro looks like he looks silly in both, but he looks bad in the anime. Here it matches his character because, like we've said in the past, again, in the anime they show him too much, and I don't understand why. But either way, they're like, oh yeah, they're over there, and Shibisu's thinking, okay, what do we do, right? And then they're splitting in two. And then Quacha's like, oh yeah, can I come too? And here Beta looks way cooler. And then they're like, oh shit, what's going on? And then we see what's going on. So in the manhwa, we didn't get that little scene in the beginning with Beta walking towards him from behind. We kind of saw from Beta's
Mm-hmm.
perspective. And I think under normal circumstances, I think that's a good thing to do. I actually like that they did that. But it's just like a little too late. It's like, okay, you're doing that, but you're ignoring other key aspects. It's like, okay, you're giving me an ice cream after you're burning my house down. Like, it's a good deed you're doing, but in the grand scheme of things, it's like, why? Why now? Why are you giving me an ice cream after you burn down my house? It doesn't make sense. It's good, but it doesn't make sense. So here, we go back to this part where everyone's like, oh shit, Wang Nan got stabbed. So in the anime, they made more of a deal over it by showing it more. Here in the manhwa, short and simple, sweet. And then they're like, oh shit. Again, I think the anime is not as expressive as the manhwa. The manhwa's faces go pretty hard. And then here, Bama's pissed. I feel like in the anime, Bama really felt like too, I want to say stoic. He felt really, really just without too much extreme emotion. Here in the manhwa, he's like, oh fuck. He's like, oh my god, what are you doing? Beta, again, these things just hit better in the manhwa. They just seem like cooler. Bama's like, yo, what do you do? What's wrong with you? And here you see Wangnan trying to crawl away. I think it's a very visceral moment. Like, in the anime, it didn't seem like too much of an issue that Wangnan was stabbed through the heart. In the manhwa, they make it feel like, oh shit, he might die. But in the anime, it kind of feels like, oh yeah, he got stabbed. Okay, whatever, he's just in pain, and you have to carry him. It did not feel like the same sort of pressure, sadly. But here, we see Beta saying the same thing as the anime. We want you to, or he wants Bomb to feel, despair, Zetsubo. And then here, Beta's gonna do the last thing. And here, look who comes in, Rack. We see the spirit
Carrying
throw.
Lore.
Yup, carrying Lore. And in the anime, we do see that as well. In the anime, he kind of like yells at Lore, like, oh, do something, you fuck. So, they finally acknowledged his existence. Here, Beta dodges it. In the anime, he caught it, I think. Or did he catch it, or did
Nah, I
he...
passed him.
It passed him?
He didn't
Okay.
catch it. He caught it last time they were fighting.
Okay. So here, Rack notices everything. In the anime, they did it slightly differently. Rack came and talked and then noticed it. But, here, Rack is carrying Laurie, trying to stop everything. This happened pretty much the same. He's like, yo, do something, you fuck. And then Beta's like, oh, who is this guy? But yo, look at this. Again, in the manhwa, this just hits so much harder. Like Laurie's like, oh, I gotta deal with you. Their faces just look so much better. Oh my god. And Laurie instantly can tell something's up with Beta, and again we saw it in the anime. But here we see Beta's like, oh shit. In the anime we kinda got that too, I'm not gonna lie. So here we see Arc Raptor link up with anyone or with everyone. Here they kind of explain more about the game, and they did do it slightly in the anime, but they didn't linger on it. So here they're like, all right, let's go inside. The inside looks, I think, a lot cooler in the manhwa, a lot more thematic. And then they're like, oh, what happened? Reploletso here, way cooler looking as always. But here we give a lot more details are given to us from SIU again about the game. And again, this is something that again nothing is new that we're saying. There's just more details. They're actually caring about the lore of the game. They're making it make sense. In the anime, it's kind of just so washed down. It's really sad. But here we get the details that if a spearhead gives up the game, then all the points are going to get erased. So they're trying, like Adrian said, to bleed out Bomb's team. They're trying to make it so they can't even summon him. And it was gonna work too until Beta stepped in. So ironically enough, Beta stepping in kind of ruined everything.
But
So
at the same time, Beta's technically not really affiliated with like he's affiliated, but he's not really working for them. He has his own reasons, so he doesn't really care at the end of the day.
he's not like helping them or really hurting them overtly. That
Yeah.
in his mind, he doesn't even really exactly like you said care about them. But him stepping in really fucked them. Like
Yeah.
inadvertently, he ruined them. He ruined their plan. Now, granted, is this all part of Koryu's grand master plan? We can never know. But this is where we see a lot more again, visually a lot more detail in the manhwa. Here we see it's in his brain. I think this is no different from the anime really. The anime just kind of said it. We didn't need to see it. We already know it too. It's a nice thing to have though. But here we see Lara doesn't really want to do this shit. And then we see more detail like Lara's like, "Oh, I really just want to stay out of this." And then Rack is told to bite him. Rack is biting him. In the anime, it looked pretty bad. Like Rack bit him, and then it was like a delayed reaction, and then like Lara was like, "Oh no," like it was really badly done in the anime and the manhwa because it's a still panel. It looked way better. Excuse me. But here, Beta's like, "Oh, he's doubting Lara, as most people do." And then here, he basically gives him like a fucking migraine or something. And then this thing gets fucked up. So I'm actually shocked in the anime, they actually showed him just throwing this shit up. I was like, damn, that's something they would usually censor, but they didn't. And he threw it up. There it is. Again, looking way better in the manga than the anime. Cool. And then they're like, okay, get it. I think the anime did this decently well. Manhwa obviously is doing it always as well. So here he's like, I got it, blah blah blah, and then boom, look what happens here. This is where the manhwa did it a little different. So in the anime, they kind of put more emphasis on the charge up with Yua. She charged
hmm
it up, and people were kind of just like sitting there waiting. And I think that's a horrible way to do it, actually.
Yeah. Here they surprise you, which is I
Yeah,
think much better.
it's like in the anime, you see the person charging up their attack, and you're just standing there watching them do it. In the manhwa, it's like unexpected, which is crazy, and everyone's shocked by it too, because you're like, "Oh shit, what was that?" And then for some reason, again, Rak calls her Angola turtle. But here they actually mentioned the point. So again, in the anime, they just glossed over this. They didn't mention it at all. They just skipped over it. They did mention it before, I believe, at some point, but you would have to actively remember it, and there's no reason not to mention it here when it's part of the source material. So they say it here, and then we get the image with Wong on here. I think the anime did this pretty well, but the manhwa looks just way better with the lines and everything. A lot more energy.
They give more notes on his injury as well. His heart was pierced. How is he still alive?
Yup.
hmm
But here, and they're mentioning like, yo, what's good with
It's
Wong
important to
Nan?
mention that I think
Yeah,
because otherwise they just think that he was stabbed similar to Bomb. How like Bomb's still walking around no problem.
exactly. And it kind of relates to the whole Yiwa thing too. With Yiwa, it's a whole subplot of how she's trying to improve her skill, how she's trying to improve her control. And
hmm
that's watered down in the anime.
Yep.
Watered down as in skipped. In the
hmm
manhwa here, same thing with Wongnan. Wongnan has certain stuff going on similar to Yiwa that they put emphasis on that the anime never does, and you don't get these very what I would like to say are important moments, especially for the future, because SIU
Yep,
teases us with a lot of things over the long term. Here,
exactly.
it's small things, but they matter. Like they matter
Hmm.
extremely. So, he's like, how the fuck is this guy still moving? Because we hear the confirmation from Beta that Beta went for his vital. Like he pierced his fucking heart, and he's no princess, right? Only the princesses can really kind of like walk away from something like this, relatively speaking. So it's like he's confused. And then here, please summon Juvio Grace. I think this panel specifically is alright. I think the anime did do it better at this point, but it's hard to not do it better unless you really fuck it up. Here we see Beta's like, oh shit, right? I feel like we didn't really get that in the anime. In the anime, he was more like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. So here, Wang Nan's like, tapping out mostly. Rack comes and gets him. In the anime, they did it different. In the anime, Beta just kind of looked over and he was gone, and Rack just picked him up. Here we actually see the physical motion of it happening. So here you can tell Wang Nan's trying to hold it in, right? In the anime, again, he looked more fine, and I really didn't like that. In the anime, they made it seem like it was a whatever injury. Here, he looks like he's hanging on and he's kind of lying to us, like, oh yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was reading this, I was concerned the whole time for
Yeah, I
Wong. And
thought
I'm
he
like,
was gonna
oh, dude,
fucking bleed
this dude
out.
is not okay.
Yeah, he's just trying to, like, act okay. Here we
Hmm.
see an amazing panel of Rack doing his thing with Yua.
The Rakiwa combo.
Yup, as always. And then here, the organizers are getting together. They're trying to basically fake everyone out. They're trying to like say like, oh yeah, the audience thinks this is a special event, but it's not. The shit's hitting the fan. So here, we see the team withdrew because they're trying to starve them of points. Basically, they're just saying what they said in the anime. They're explaining the whole thing, and Shibisu finds out they're there. So then he's like, okay, get in, Dorsey. We saw this in the anime. This was done pretty well. Here Beta's getting upset at them, and he's starting to summon Phobos, and they're like, "Oh shit, get to Lore." I think the anime did
Man,
this.
look at these, man. Where are these in the anime? These like pan outs where they show the actual like
They always have the
attacks hitting.
yeah, they always have the wrong perspective. The perspective is so
Yeah, the
terrible.
perspective's so off. Yeah, everything's too close. It's hard to really understand what's going on
Let me see if I could get like the side by side here. So it's right about
here.
right
Yeah,
here. I really did like the way Phobos looked though. Like I think like Phobos looked pretty good relative to obviously everything else. Like look at that. It looks like he just
yeah,
farted
just
on him.
that was it.
Like it was a
You
quick
don't really
like
get to
cum
see it
blast.
happen.
Yeah, what was that? Here we see like a direct like beam attack. Again, everything
Hmm.
looks cooler, usual. Boom, they come
Dude, look at the
down.
poses on these guys too. Come on,
Oh
man,
my
this shit's so
god.
cool.
Here Beta looks fucking cool, right? Again, it's all this like I don't want to say foreshadowing because we know he's a monster, but it's all this like just tying the theme together in an extremely like good way, using all these subtle I don't want to say tricks, but these subtle details, like having the shadow over him when they're calling him a monster, it helps. It helps bring the aura together. Here we see his eye, here we see the feet come out, and then oh my god, they're like, what the hell? Here we see Kun actually say it, and again, I saw this in the anime, and I kind of could get what Beta was doing. We didn't have confirmation though. Beta was trying to stomp on the call center, but they never said it. Kun never said
Hmm.
this, and obviously they had Lori stop the foot, but it's like them saying it would have made a lot more sense. I don't know why they're cutting stuff like this out.
Yep.
So here, Lori looks cool as fucking shit. We actually see the name, Cry of Piercing Water, right? He slashes that
Yeah,
shit,
it's like a
looks way
sword. It looks
better.
way cooler. Yeah.
Yep. Here, Yiwa's flame looks amazing, and then Rack is making fun of him. Boom.
Rakiwa combo.
Yep, they clap it up. And then look, we're still going. When I heard this in the anime, they're still going, I was like, yo, I bet you the fucking anime hates that. Like, they hate animating this shit.
Yeah.
So here Phobos comes out. Again, I think they did Phobos well. I actually think Phobos was done pretty decently. But here, they're fighting. The fighting looks way cool. Look at this shit. He leaps above them. He's about to slap their asses with fucking energy. Oh my god. Here in the anime, he had like little wings coming out of him too. And the manhwa, he didn't have that shit. But yeah, here he's planning to basically nuke everything. And then even Laurie mentioned like, oh, it's gonna be hard without a lighthouse to do this shit. So it makes me question: was Kun even there originally with the lighthouse? And I guess we're gonna keep seeing. But here, Beta's mocking Bomb as well. And then look who comes in! Oh my god, it's Sophia! And then Kun is like, oh, what's happening? And in the anime, they actually didn't show Kun's face here asking this. They just had his voice there, and I was confused. I was like, oh, is Beta saying that? But then I realized it was Kun. So they could have just added like the panel of his face in the anime, him saying that. I don't know why they didn't, but whatever. So here Beta's like being disobedient, and he's telling her like, yeah, I'm a weapon, and he just wants revenge. He's basically upset, and he's blaming Bomb for everything as usual. And then Kun is saying like, oh yeah, this guy's fucking crazy. So Kun is also noticing, oh yeah, the Snake team withdrew, and this is where he concocts his big plan, to basically have Shibisu forfeit to get the insta summons. But this is where again they're skipping details. He turned his communicator off, right? And I remember he told Wangnan to do it too, because they didn't want Wangnan to be tracked. So he
Mm-hmm.
turned his communicator off as well, I guess, and they just don't say why he didn't see it. Here in the manga, they do. Again, as always, more details. But here he tells Shibisu about the plan, and then they do it. Everything's happening. Boom! This explosion looked really bad in the anime. Like the tower blowing up looked like shit. Excuse me. But then we get this fucking hot ass panel of the beam coming down after the end. I feel like if they choreographed this better, this would have been such an epic scene. But they don't know how to choreograph, so you get to see it here, and the manga will look amazing. Anyway, let's see who's here. Oh, I wonder who it is. And there he is. Oh my god. Important thing to note, I think he brought the lighthouse with him. Because Laurie mentioned, like, oh yeah, we need a lighthouse. And then once Bomb gets teleported, there's a lighthouse coming with him. I
Well,
don't
I think it's
know.
because Kun is there and Kun's allowed to use his thing now. Because remember, he's like in the ball, which by the way, I don't think he's in the ball from this
We
thing, but
gotta
I guess he's
see.
allowed to use the lighthouse from there because those are Kun's
Yeah,
lighthouses.
they are. But I'm wondering if it came in with Bomb. But I don't know.
I think it came in as soon as the game ended, similar to how Bomb was teleported in. So like for the same reason, but not with like it wasn't like he was with Bomb.
Okay. But yeah, so here Bomb comes in. Yeah, it doesn't. I feel like Kun is not there, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So here the fight's about to start. Everyone's saying their hellos, and then Rack is asking like, "Oh, are you good? You with us?" He's like, "Yup, I'm here." Finally, right? So the lighthouses got damaged because he helped block it. So I guess they were there already. But here they just shit talk each other. Oh, look at Bomb's stance here. He's ready. He's like, "Yeah, let's go." Here Beta finally gets his wings. They're going in. This looks way better than the anime as usual. And then boom, he's trying to get his kick in. So I don't remember. I do remember in the anime in previous episodes, his leg did get powered up like this. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
it got powered up like this in the episode.
No, I don't think so. No.
So I don't know why they did it for that, but not for this. But whatever. Here, Beta shit talk him. Here, we're getting a lot more oomph with the attacks. Um, Here we're getting a lot more Yua interaction as well. And then Kun is like, oh, so I guess Kun was in the thing. I mean, they didn't
Yeah,
overtly
yeah, I
show
guess he
it,
was.
but they show him coming out of it. They didn't.
Well, that's him coming out of it right there.
Yeah, because it shows it
Basically in
above,
that
but
panel, like him
yeah.
already being out.
Huh. And then he's stepping on fucking Laurie's thing. But Kun is trying to convince him like, what are you doing, right? And then Beta at this point doesn't even really care. Beta, if anything, this is really just rubbing salt in the wound because, like they said in the anime, Beta is in a way kind of jealous of Bomb because he had all this, I guess, in a weird fucked up sort of way right here, right, with his quote unquote friends, which he said was family. They kind of had a little bit of a mistranslation here too, or I guess they changed it. Beta was like, "Oh, I don't know if I should call them friends or family." In the anime, he was like, "Oh no, they were family more than friends," and then they just killed each other. But the anime kept this pretty. They actually showed a little bit more. They actually showed like the blood and the gore and stuff, which is one of the points I will always give the anime. They do show a lot more of the violence. But here Beta's more shocked. Again, his face looks a lot better, a lot younger as well. And then here he's just really just crashing out. Like here he's he's basically saying like, yeah, it was all a lie. He's getting pissed. I think this hits a lot harder as always in the manhwa. And then Bomb using the love disc. He never used this in the fight, sadly. Criminal. But here, they're running towards each other, they're doing their shit. Hoon's protecting everyone. Phobos looks cool as shit here. And here, what do we see? We see the name of the move, Han
Mm-hmm.
Sung Yu. We could see that, and again, I guess they didn't really know what to do, but it was a similar way in the manual, but I feel like they fucked it up animating it. Like, animating is, like, weird.
Mm-hmm.
But here we see it's from Han Sung Yu. And then, he goes, he does it, he pierces it, looks a lot cooler in the manhwa. And then they actually, say their attacks too. partial ignition. These things matter. They add a lot of context. Because at the end of the day, if you forgot, and I won't even blame you for forgetting in the anime, what are they? They're ignition weapons as people. But Beta, again, being the unfinished product, is the partial ignition, not the full one. So here he brings out Dionysus, which is not Phobos, so actually Dionysus is different. And then here we see Kun constantly assisting Bomb. He was doing that in the anime, but it just looked so terrible. Like, it looked really just horrible. Here, it looks good. Bomb is kind of questioning, why the fuck are you blaming me? It's not my fault. And, Beta doesn't really have anyone else to take it out on but Bomb. So Bomb kind of realizes that, right? He kind of says, like, yo, yeah, they're the other enemy, right? And Beta doesn't want to believe it because he can't take it out on them. He could take it out on Bomb. Here we see Bomb using some fucking sick-ass shit here. What even is this? This isn't reverse flow, is it?
This looks like the other move that he copied from Love, the one where
Yeah.
he moves fast or
Yeah,
whatever.
that shit's crazy. So again, he's really using a lot of Love's moves. So again, similar to Yiwa, and then similar to Wangnan, we don't see these things with Bomb either. Now, Bomb is more combat oriented. Wangnan and Yiwa are more like story oriented. But again, like, we don't see him copying all these things as often. So then Bomb is again just questioning him. Bomb is also saying, like, you're a fucker. And then finally here, we actually get the name of it. The floral butterfly piercing technique. Is this the first time he used it? I believe it's the first time he used it, but either way, Beta drops the gun. In the anime, this was done terribly. Like, let me see if I get the comparison here. So I think this is right when he ignites the thorn a little bit. Like, they don't even say, you don't even know it's the fucking floral butterfly. That one looked like he almost missed it too. So, he beats the shit out of fucking Phobos. Here it looks like whatever, right? Like, no, not even Phobos was enough. Like, bruh, like, what is this? It's so different. It's so fucking different. Boom. Like, he actually pierced him with this. In the fucking anime, he, like, missed, kind of. Then
Yeah,
here
I think
again.
to this day in the anime, we don't even know what the floral butterfly piercing technique
Yeah,
is.
like, are you kidding me?
We don't know what any of the moves are. We
That's
just see
like,
stuff happen.
oh my fucking god, it's so upsetting. Like, imagine in Naruto, you didn't know he had the Rasengan. Like, are you, like, what? That's his move. But either way, we see the destruction, we see everything here. They're all questioning, like, oh my god, is it over? And then Beta's kind of like, still pissed. Still pissed that Bomb's kind of, cracking him down. But he's not done. And then Beta's trying to go in. Kun's, look at how cool this looks. Like, Kun's in the background just defending him. Bomb is just standing there. And we're not having any of these nonsense punches that don't look like they're hitting or anything. It's very condensed. Like, this is very good. But here, Bomb is kind of noticing, like, yo, you're kind of at your limit. You can't really do this anymore. Bomb never really said that in the anime. He just said, like, if you do this, this is only going to be bad for both of us. And Beta wants that for Bomb, at least. He doesn't care if he has it. He already does. So here, I think the translation's a lot better in the manhwa as well. And here we get this amazing panel here, right? So Bomb is being kind as always. He's like, he doesn't even want to do this anymore. Despite Beta trying to kill his friends, stabbing Wangnan in front of him, Bomb is like, just let's stop. Like, he's not vindictive, right? And here when he like partially ignites the thorn again, you see Beta's face here. He looks like he's shitting himself. Like, he legitimately looks like he just crapped his pants. Look at this shit. Boom. He fucking just tosses that shit to the side. Here we're getting Beta's inner monologue too. We see his thoughts. An amazing thing they always leave out. And then, oh my god, they're glazing the thorn now too. You're seeing how strong the thorn is from Beta's perspective. Amazing detail. Then we see this in the anime. We see where Beta kind of crashes out. He's like, "Oh, you have everything," and now he's just literally trying. Here they show this in the anime. Bomb just kind of was a statue and took it. Here in the manhwa, we actually see him somewhat react to being physically assaulted. But Bomb just takes it. He has a little blood on his cheek too, on his lip. Again, like, why can't they do that? That's not a hard thing to do. We already know they can't do the fights. I know that. You can't do a guy getting punched? Like, what?
Yeah, missing all that context is important too, because like right before Beta starts tweaking out, is he mentions like the whole thing that's like it's beyond his ability. He can't win. Like, he knows it's over at this point.
Yeah, he's just mental boomed. He's mentally
Yeah.
breaking because he failed. He knows he failed, and there's just nothing he could do.
Bomb's too strong for him.
Yeah, he said, like, if that thorn ignited, there's nothing he could do. even if
Hmm.
he was at his best, like, 100% healed up, ready to go, there's nothing he could do. It's such a good moment, man. Oh my god. So here, Bomb, I think they did this kind of horribly in the anime too. Here it looks like Bomb is just kind of like saying it because he has to. In the anime, they kind of made it where Bomb is like saying it because he wants to, if that makes sense. Like Bomb is kind of like pushing it on him. In the anime, or sorry, in the manhwa, he looks like he's more just responding. So here he's trying to empathize with Beta, and here they actually showed Rahel. In the anime, he's like, "Oh yeah, I was chasing a light. I followed the light into the tower." And they showed the fucking rock and whatever, and there was nothing there. I was like, wait, what? Like, did they forget about Rahel? Like they forgot about Lare? I guess they did. I wish they did, but you know, here he's saying, he likes his friends, they're his, and now Sophia's like, enough of this, right? And then this is where Sophia actually gives us a little bit more lore. They didn't give us this in the anime, did they? Did Sophia say all this? I don't think she
No.
did. Yeah. So here she kind of confirmed, like, yeah, Bomb has nothing to do with this. So it's kind of crazy. So I guess Emily did lie then. By this logic, either Emily's lying or Sophia's lying. And then here we see Beta just kind of coughing and he's kind of losing it. Oh no, you need an injection. But wait a minute. It's a setup. Now all the soldiers are like, all right, we got to get rid of Beta, and then look what happens, right? Uh this
Yeah,
is
this
where
part's so sad too.
yeah, it's like
He's just coughing up blood, and they're just like, "All right, time to put him down."
yeah, and he can't even fight back because he would easily smoke these people.
Yeah.
And look, even Kun says how fucked up this is, right? In the anime, he's like, "Oh, I don't like Beta, but this isn't right." And here, it's like, "Oh, they only watched, and now they decide to step in, right?" And
Important details.
they put this last part of what Kun said. It's like they're copying half the work. Here, Bomb was like, "No, don't do it," and then boom, what happens here? Oh yeah, look at big homies coming in. Again, this just looks better. Like the fire looks better, the shot from the umbrella looks better. In the anime, this looks like fucking shit. Like oh my god, what was this? What was this? Look at this. Look at this. The fire, okay, whatever. The umbrella shot's like a ball. I don't know. Compare that to this. I think this is cooler, at least with the way that their powers look. Here, Rack is stepping on them. Rack is looking cool as shit. Everyone comes and they're like, you know what? Let's do it. And then they're like, oh shit, they got Sophia. Oh fuck, and look at this. So
Ooh, the
I,
side shot.
yeah, this side shot here, I think the anime actually did this pretty well. I think the fact that
Yeah.
they stayed on that, of all the things they would pause and take more time on, I'm not upset that they did it with Ro. I think Ro doing it is fine. Here we see
Hmm.
Ro again, amazing art. Read season 2 or watch us read it. You see amazing art like this, and then here all the students are together. I don't think he kind of said that in the anime. He kind of said like, "Oh, it's good to see my students again." Here it's like, "Oh, I came to help my students." Big difference. Here we finally go back to Vargarv and Ronmei. Ronmei looks really cute too. Reflejo's calling them, and look what they have. Oh my god.
They did the eye with his red eye, his like light eye or whatever.
Yeah, so they
They,
copied it, but
they
they
made
made
it
it
too big.
worse. Yeah,
It was
because
like too big.
there's other times in the manga where his eye looks like that, but of all the times to copy it and kind of accentuate it, they did it this time. Now, big difference here, and this led to a really funny moment with me and Adrian. So again,
Hmm.
I don't know why they choose to show Ron May the way they do. I think Ron May is a lot cuter in the manhwa. In the anime, I feel like they're so rigid with their designs. Like when they show a character, they kind of design them, and then they're very like stuck in the way they look.
Hmm.
It's hard to describe, but I feel like they keep showing Ranma, and she's very static with her emotions. She's very not varied. But big funny moment that happened here when me and Adrian were watching this shit. Also, Vargarv looks like shit. Um, this is where. Oh my god, look at that. That's horrible. So this is the panel, right? One big thing I noticed, because I obviously am a Quarryun lover. I'm the biggest Quarryun lover. I was staring. I'll just admit it, right? You call me in 4K. I was staring at Hawaryu's breasts. I was like, why is her shirt ripped open and you see some cleavage? I was so confused. And then I was watching that the whole entire time, and then the episode ended, and then Adrian told me, "Oh, what did they do to Reflejo?" I'm like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" So I rewinded it, and then I saw this. I didn't even notice this because I was staring at Huaryun's tits.
Yeah, it looks so weird. The
This
eye.
looks so horrible because like they tried to copy it here, but here it's small, and
It's different because like there's shadow around it too. Here it's like the eye, like it's too big. Yeah,
it really is just too big. If they made it smaller, it would have worked.
it would have worked. Yeah,
But they didn't, and it's so bad. Like again, they pick and choose what they want to copy one for one and what they don't. Here they didn't copy Huariyun, showing her fucking tits because she didn't. She's
yeah.
just on her ass.
I think it would look better if they just showed her like how it was there, with just like her hair all over.
Yeah, but here
It
we
would
need
look like
fucking
more.
we need fan service of her like her
You'd know that it
titties
was
out.
Hawaiian. Like I don't know.
Yeah, like
Who
oh,
else
I
would
wonder
do
who
that?
this could be. It's so stupid. So they try and copy Reflejo's eye, but they want to give Huariyun fan service? Like it doesn't make any
Also, I
sense.
like the full picture. Like you see Reflejo from top to bottom. Like
Yeah.
look how much fuller this image is compared to the other one where they just pan up and it's like you just see half of the body. Like it's
Yeah.
so wrong. It's so half-assed. Like they couldn't. It's such a simple thing to make it look better, but
Yeah, and
whatever.
they cut out this last part too, but
It's death by a thousand cuts. You know what I mean? They keep
it's
doing little things
constant.
here and there, boom, 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 and like mistakes everywhere. All these small things that it's like you can't even give them the excuse of like this is not a good animation,
It's
uh,
everything. It's
like they're
so
not
much
good
shit.
animators. It's like all these little mistakes have nothing to do with the animation too. It's just like them being lazy or like not wanting a scene to look like the mono. Like you said, they pick and choose what they want to do, and it really
It's
costs
so
them in terms of
awkward.
like the story.
Yeah, it's like I know there's other moments where Reflejo looked like this in the manhwa. I know he had this look before, but because he has it here and because he has it before, it's expected. You're used to it, and it also doesn't look like shit. Here, this is the first time they do it, and they do it horribly, and it's like, what the hell? It's so bad. But yeah, as always, when
Mhm.
we do the manhwa comparison, it's obviously way worse. The manhwa's as
Yeah.
always better as we show. But again, I'm still sticking by. I think of all the anime episodes, this was probably one of my favorite ones because again, the quality was higher consistently than most of them, and I'm kind of past the point of like caring. I'm just here for laughs at this point and to see it because it is Tower of God. I will support it in one way or another. But
Hmm.
that's basically it. Pretty horrible episode, but we know what to expect. And for me, it's one of the highest ones I think of season 2. It's definitely up there for me.
Hmm.
But anything else you want to add, Adrian?
Nope, that's it for me.
All right. So that's going to be it from us. We hope everyone enjoyed, and we'll be back next week, hopefully for another episode of Tower of God season 2. And we're getting near the end now too. We have what, 3 more episodes, right?
Hmm.
We have one, two, three. Yeah, so literally at the end of December, the last Sunday of December, we will be done with this. We will usher in the new year, hoping to dear God we never get an animation like this again. Hopefully. But we'll be here for hopefully 3 more times. We hope everyone enjoyed, and we hope you'll either read it or watch our reading. And we'll see you next time. Yee!